9 games in a row.
I've never done it.
Is insane.
Yeah.
I think people are going to talk about strength of schedule, whatever, catching teams at this point, whatever it is. But like 9 games in a row is insane. And I think, like, you're asking about my thoughts on last night's game. I think as each game goes, this team is gaining more and more confidence in the fourth quarter. You can say what you want for the first 3 quarters, but in the fourth quarter, everyone on that Broncos sideline knows we're winning this game.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Broncos X's and O's. Dave is out because he is going to his 8th straight state championship. Wow. So shout out to Dave Logan and Cherry Creek football. But we got a special guest, Justin Simmons, 8-year veteran with the Broncos. He played 9 years so far, but played 8 years for the Broncos. How many All-Pros do you have in there?
4.
4 All-Pros. How many Pro Bowls?
2.
2 Pro Bowls. I'd rather take the All-Pros, right, than the Pro Bowls?
Yeah, you want the All-Pros.
Okay. Well, Justin Simmons is sitting in for Dave, and this is an honor for me to just sit here, talk ball, chop it up with Justin. We played 1 year together, and just an incredible teammate, incredible person. He's been a guest on this show before, but somebody who has elite ball knowledge, and somebody also who played under Sean Payton as well, like myself. So, Justin, welcome to the show, my brother.
Benny, that is an insane introduction, first of all. So thank you. To all the viewers, I'm going to try my best to fill Dave's shoes, but as we all know, that's impossible. So just excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Sunday Night Football, Broncos got a win.
Huge
27-26, bro. They have won 9 games in a row. They are now sitting at 10-2. I know that you would love to be back in that locker room on a team like this, especially because you had some heartache in your career here. You beat, I guess were you on the team that beat the Chiefs?
First time beating the Chiefs.
Yeah. So you are on that.
But I was first time though. Yes.
But regardless, Broncos are playing extremely well right now. Just your first initial thoughts on how the game went yesterday.
I think, first of all, we were talking about this pre-show. 9 games in a row.
I've never done it.
Is insane.
Yeah.
I think people are going to talk about strength of schedule, whatever, catching teams at this point, whatever it is, but like 9 games in a row is insane. And I think, like, you're asking about my thoughts on last night's game. I think as each game goes, this team is gaining more and more confidence in the fourth quarter. You can say what you want for the first 3 quarters, but in the fourth quarter, everyone on that Broncos sideline knows we're winning this game. It's no longer like we hope, we'll see. It's we're winning. That is an insane stat. Yeah. So that's my thoughts on last night's game. That is insane.
You bring up something really important. I think confidence is one of the most important things that you can have, not only in life, but also, and especially in sports. Mm-hmm. And you talked about at the end of the game that these guys, to me, I see the same thing you see. They don't blink. They don't flinch. It's like, oh, we got to go into overtime? Fine. We're ready to do that. Sean dials up 4 or 5 great passing play calls, and then R.J. Harvey runs it in for a touchdown. I thought Bo, it wasn't the cleanest game, but 29-45, 321 yards passing, 1 TD, 1 interception. The interception was a little weird because he threw it straight to Bobby Wagner. I don't know what he was seeing right there, and I'm not going to criticize him too much because I never played quarterback, and you know how hard it is to play quarterback just in the NFL. But I definitely saw a more confident and poised Bo. And then coming off a bye week, I think Sean dialed up some things really well yesterday. But what did you see from the defense? You've played under Vance Joseph. You played under Sean Payton. What did you see from the defense yesterday? I was surprised. How hard is it to play against the backup quarterback and then also a guy like Marcus Mariota who can extend the play?
Yeah, it's difficult. There are a lot of similarities, in my opinion, between Jaden Daniels and Mariota. I think, obviously, Mariota's had more experience. He's had success in his career. And so when you have a guy like that come in, you're not treating him like a normal backup quarterback. And so I think we saw that throughout the game, right? Like, I don't think Denver, at least from what I watched just on the TV, I didn't look at the all 22, I don't think they blitzed nearly as much as they're used to. That could have been a Mariota thing. That could have been a Cliff Kingsbury thing because he was the head coach with Arizona when BJ was at DC. That could have been the chess match that they were playing with each other. You also saw that, like, really on first to second down, it was run, RPO, quick game. A lot of respect for Denver's defensive front getting after the quarterback. They're saying, we're not going to let you get to Mariota. And then on top of that, on third down, they took their shots when they needed to. Aggressive but controlled shots. And I think that kind of backed off some of the pressure that Denver was used to having. It wasn't their best game defensively, but again, when it came down to the fourth quarter and it came down to the defense needs to stop on this 2-point conversion to win the game, whether the guy was open or not, they found a way to win the football game. And that is impressive to me.
With Washington's offense, or just offenses in general, going against now this Denver defense, is that the way to kind of slow the pass rush down? Should we, as fans and people who are watching the game now, should we expect quick passing game? Is that the way? How will people start attacking this defense? Because regardless, people got to play it for the next 5 weeks and then in the playoffs. Is it the quick passing game? How do you slow down the pass rush? How do you stay away from Pat Surtain?
Yeah. And it is a quick passing game, but it's the cat and mouse, right? Because as you know, and I'm sure most viewers know, like, every defense can be beat with an offensive play call. And so you got to call the right calls at the right time. You got to have a feel for in-game adjustments. And I think sometimes that's just a specific OC trait that not a lot of those guys have. And Vance Joseph is extremely smart on dialing up his blitzes when he needs to, what guys can come free. I mean, we saw Hufanga coming off the edge multiple times through the B gap, through the C gap, making plays in the backfield, disrupting the run game. So, like, yes, I think teams are going to try and adapt this philosophy that Kingsbury had and the quick game and maybe some design quarterback runs if your quarterback can run the football, but it doesn't necessarily give you the formula to success. I mean, it's a stacked defense. Sometimes there's only so much you can do.
You talk about Hufanga, and I want to ask you a little bit of a personal question. I wanted you to go back to one of your All-Pro years. What was it like for you in terms of your daily preparation, the things that went well during games? Because I think Hufanga's playing at an All-Pro level, at least from what I see. I feel like he's the best safety in the AFC, if not the NFL right now. You know that position, obviously, extremely well. You might know of other safeties right now who are playing some elite ball right now. But what was that like for you during your All-Pro seasons? What was working so well for you to get All-Pro honors? And then what do you think that he's doing really well?
Yeah, I think it's difficult. I think a lot of the times as fans of the game, we just immediately go and look at the box score, and then that's where we choose to put our All-Pro, Pro Bowl votes. If you actually watch Denver play, and especially their defense, no doubt do I agree that Hufanga is playing at an all-pro level. He is an eraser. He's making plays in the back end that are PBUs, should be interceptions. He's making 10-yard runs, stopping them from being 20-yard runs, 30-yard runs. He's closing the distance and sometimes even making them like 5-yard runs. If you actually watch the tape on watching Hufanga play, he is certainly playing at an all-pro level. It is insane watching this guy, and there's no doubt, like, it's unfortunate he had injuries earlier on in his career, but you're seeing why he was a first-team All-Pro with San Fran, why he was a Pro Bowler, why he was making game-changing plays, it seemed like Thursday, Monday, and Sunday Night Football. So no doubt is he playing at an all-pro level. I think sometimes you're just in flow state. Like, yeah, your preparation and everything throughout the week doesn't necessarily change too much, but on game day, you're just in another world where just things are slowing down. The plays are a lot easier to diagnose and recognize, and you're just able to attack and make those plays. And I think that's what you're seeing from him.
Thoughts on, and this is obviously very controversial for all of Broncos country, but I actually thought Riley played a pretty decent game yesterday. Mm-hmm. You give up the one big play to Deebo Samuel, but he had a couple of PBUs early in the first half, and I think one early in the second half. Thoughts on Riley and his overall game yesterday?
I think the first thing to address was no PIs, no defensive holdings. I think, and rightfully so, like, there's a lot of people criticizing that aspect of his game. And after the big win at home, media asked him about it. He said, "I'm going to get that cleaned up." And by no means is the season over, but this game, none of that. So I think credit is due there, whether that's from the coaching staff, from Riley himself. Like, the credit is due. There are some big play. I mean, the Burks catch in the back of the end zone, dude, that's
Insane
just
catch.
an insane catch.
Insane
He
catch.
played it perfect. He had a couple nice PBUs. He came up and stopped the run a few times. You know, that play there at the end with Deebo Samuels was a tough one. I obviously thought he could have played that better, but again, and I'm always going to be the defense's biggest critic because that's just how I operated when I played. He got the tackle, and they won the game.
Yeah.
I think people look over that type of thing. Like, you always, from a film standpoint, and when you're in a meeting room, it's like, give us one more down. That was the mentality. Just give us one more down and we'll change the game. If he doesn't make that tackle, who knows what happens? But he did, and it caused Nick Bonito to make that huge PBU at the end of the game, and they ended up winning it. So, yeah, huge congrats to the team. And I thought, yeah, Riley wasn't his best game, but I thought there was improvements there, and I think that's worth noting.
Yeah, I think, you point out some really good that's really good just to point out that there were no penalties on him yesterday. Also, Deebo Samuels is good. Like,
Yeah.
he's not a slouch receiver. Like,
Yeah.
he's very talented player, has made plays. He also gets paid, and he gets paid way more than Riley does. So, that being said, I thought Riley played a pretty decent game.
It's also, too, like, Riley's being put up against
Elite
a
players.
lot of elite players. And Vance is not the type of coach that's like, okay, Pat, you're on an island by yourself. Free safety, we're leaning this way. Like, no, he trusts his guys. So free safety is going to read what he's reading, help where he sees help's needed. And, sometimes that's Riley on an island. That's how much trust that coaching staff has in him. And I think that's just going to continually breed confidence in himself. Mm-hmm. And he's going to be fine. I've been in the room with him. He has the right makeup. He's going to be totally fine. I personally just wanted to see the penalties go away, and that's why I mentioned that. Like, It was really cool and encouraging to see that those went away.
When you are, I guess if you were in this locker room right now, and what would be your words of encouragement? How do you coach somebody up like that as a veteran yourself who's played a lot of football? How would you coach them up? I know how TJ would coach somebody up, or Keeb, because I got a chance to see that, and you got a chance to see that because they coached you up when you were a younger player. How would you coach him up, or just give him that confidence?
Yeah,
confidence.
I would do, like, me personally. I'm a big visual guy, so I would go in the film room with him, and I would just show him all of his positive plays. That's it, all the positive plays. Because when you play DB in the National Football League, like, you can have 7 good PBUs and the 1 touchdown you give up. That's all anyone remembers, right? But, like, don't forget about those 7 PBUs you had in that game where you played the ball, you're in the right position. You weren't holding, you weren't doing all the things. Like, this is the player you are, not this guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think looking at the positives and reflecting on the positives and having that positive self-talk over and over and over and over, I think that's what really will elevate a player's confidence. Because if you don't have confidence in yourself, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. So I would just show him all his positive plays over and over and over and just be like, this is who you are, and let's continue to play like that.
And then just wrapping up on the defense, thoughts on Nick Bonito, the pass rush. Obviously, Nick is playing at an elite level. Forced fumble, sack. Now he's at 10.5 sacks. How important is just the pass rush to just the overall defense? Because, I mean, when you have a pass rush, bro, I think you can do anything and everything. And I feel like the 2 most elite things that you can have on a championship defense is the pass rush, and you need to have 2 corners who can play man. If you got 2 corners who can play man and 2 pass rushers, you can go far.
Any elite defense, at least that I've seen, and I would love to be proved wrong, has an elite front 7, at least an elite front 4.
Yeah.
Like that Super Bowl run that you guys had, yes, no fly zone, no doubt.
Yeah.
That front 4
beast.
was disgusting. Like, and you can have, like, I've been on teams where we had a great secondary and a good front 4, not elite, a good front 4 though. Guys that can play. And it's tough to cover. Yeah. Now you're covering for 6-7 seconds. These guys are covering for maybe 2 to 3 seconds, maybe. Mm-hmm. And they're getting down. And I think another thing worth noting, you talked about Nick Bonito. First of all, it's really cool that I think I read the stat that he is the first Bronco since Von Miller to have back-to-back 10-plus sack seasons. So shout out to Bonito. And also at the same time, like, I got this from Raheem Morris in Atlanta. Stats are for losers. And I love that. I love that quote because, again, I think so many times we just look at stats and that we pin accolades on people that have the right stats. Benito is doing so many things in coverage with his rush, containing. Like, he's being asked to do so many things where it's taking back maybe some of his production. But that doesn't mean he's not playing at an all-pro level. So it's insane. Like, you watch him and he's getting these pressures, and Mariota feels that and he has to get rid of it quickly, or he has to hand it off. Maybe he wanted to keep it and saw, like, there's just so many things that go on behind the missed stat that I think can be lost from just a common fan eye. And so I just thought that was worth noting, man, because I think, again, like we talked about Hufanga, I think Benito's playing at an all-pro level, no doubt. And I just think it needs to be recognized.
Love to see it, man. Yeah, Nick is – you love to see it. You love to see him making plays. He could have ended the game with the one sack, but then makes up with the batted ball.
Yep.
Everybody, you know, I've talked about this before on the show. I love Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell after a win. I love Taco Bell after a late night. And Taco Bell is the absolute best at menu innovation, and they have done it again for a limited time. Taco Bell is serving up a steak and roasted poblano rolled quesadilla. This is a twist on a classic with premium ingredients to elevate your Taco Bell experience. And as the college football season winds down, you only have 1 week left to pick up a Buffs box, the best value in food. So grab this $7 box filled with 4 Taco Bell classics and a player collectible cup. Live Más at Taco Bell. Whether you're just conquering off-road trails or hauling the weight of the world, there's a Toyota truck that's just right for you, like the 2025 Tacoma and the return of the iconic 2025 Land Cruiser. Toyota offers 17 models with available all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, like the epic 4Runner. Toyota also currently offers more low and zero emission vehicles combined than any other automaker to give customers numerous choices to reduce their carbon footprint. There are 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from, like the Toyota iForce Max hybrid truck. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is an official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places. Now shifting towards the offense, first initial thoughts in terms of the offense, Bo's play. What did you see? What did you like about the game last night from the Denver offensive perspective?
I thought they were in control pretty much the whole game. Like, obviously there's a few plays, and like I said, that's the cat and mouse. Sometimes you just dial up the right pressure with whatever the offense is doing, and vice versa with the offense. But I thought, like, watching the game, I felt good watching, like, as a Broncos fan, like, this offense looks better. Like, I just felt that watching the game. I thought Bo was decisive in his throws. I thought there was times where he saw the coverage and immediately checked it down, and those are like those 3rd and 8s, and you know, Harvey or Ingram or whoever it was with the check down passes were able to go get those first downs. I think it's so cool how Sean dials up certain plays for certain moments, like that 4th and 1, Trotman blocking down and squeaking out just enough to get that little F hide, like. And a lot of the times, you know, sometimes you dial those up for like big touchdowns, but the 4th and 1 call needed it. It's like, I know we're going to get this. Like, those types of things are so cool for football fans when you notice those things. And I thought the offense did great. Obviously, that interception there was, you know, we talked about that briefly, was, I think, a little out of character. But other than that, I mean, that drive at the overtime was insane. He played great.
Yeah. You bring up, and one of the things that I love the most about football, or in just the way that Bo played yesterday, was the checkdowns. Those are the plays that get me the most excited, because that means he's seeing the field well. Oh, hey, they dropped 8 right here. I'm going to find my check down. And that's actually how the overtime, I believe, started, with a check down that RJ Harvey ended up getting for a first down, a positive play. Those are the little things, especially in this offense, I believe go a long way. When I think about Drew Brees and just playing this offense briefly in 2020, Drew was just incredible at finding the check down.
Yep, no doubt.
Check wide on Kamara, check wide to Latavius Murray to move the chains and continue to extend the drive. Those are the things that get a defense tired. Those are the things that end up creating the positive momentum. And you saw the way that overtime started with the check down, and then Evan Ingram has the juke route, which ends up going for 41 yards. I think over the next 5 weeks and then in the playoffs, Evan Ingram, that joker card is now starting to be played, and Sean will play it. Talk to me from a defensive perspective of what's it like to guard a player, or how hard is it to guard a player, a tight end that is so dynamic in terms of his route running, but then also his yards after catch ability. And would you like to see more of that?
Yeah, I'm watching, and what scares me the most as a defender, thinking about having to prep for Denver, is there's a lot of different factors. But if they find a way to get Ingram going, and he becomes more of a target, more of a threat than he has been. Not saying he isn't, but then he has been. I mean, it's difficult because now what you have to do is you have to allocate more of your top defensive players to this guy, and that takes away from something else. Mm-hmm. So, we're probably not seeing Cortland get as many touches, maybe because they're shading a little bit more towards Court, right? Or we're not seeing the run game pop off because they're like, okay, well, we're taking away Cortland and we're going to stuff more guys to the run. They're not throwing to the tight end. They're not throwing to this guy. And so there's different things that you take away defensively, and you're like, yeah, this is where we're telling you to throw the ball, and let's see if you can beat us. You get a guy like Ingram involved, now you got to remove a piece from, and the puzzle just starts getting chaotic. And I thought, you saw that at the end of the game. I know there was a few drops, maybe even a few poor passes to him, but he caught that one and took it, 30 yards down the field, and you saw the speed, you saw the athleticism. It's just tough, man. And those are the difference makers, the tight ends in today's games that can do those types of things, and especially in Sean's offense, is going to be a difference maker for this team.
I always tell people, when Evan Ingram first signed here, and I was a teammate of his for 2 years in New York, when he caught that ball yesterday for Broncos fans, it reminds me of when he runs of DT. I think they run the same yards after the catch. They both got similar body types. Evan plays tight end, obviously, but you see him pick his knees up. And not many players can just run like that. And the way he carries the ball, even the way he would tuck the ball, how he tucked the ball, reminds me a lot of the late, great Demaryius Thomas. So I think you're right. I think it creates a lot of matchups, nightmares for other defenses, I don't know who you would put on him.
Yeah.
Do you put somebody like yourself on him? Do you put a safety on him, or do you put a nickel on him? Obviously, he has a elite matchup against any linebacker, I believe. I don't think there's any linebacker that can cover him. No. So you got to use a secondary defender.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. If I'm picturing previous defenses that I played on prepping for this team, you would have to allocate either a nickel or a safety. Or you would have to try and bracket in some type of zone. Then you're giving up numbers in the run game, and we know how much Sean loves to run the football. And I think right now, also going back to Denver's offense, I think a little bit of yesterday, which is the crazy cat and mouse game, I thought they were throwing to open up the run game as opposed to before they were running to open up the throw game. And I think
tell me more about what how that plays out in your mind, because I didn't see that.
I think now that J.K. Dobbins, the workhorse, is going to be out for a while. Hopefully he's able to come back. You got a young rookie. It's kind of a by committee at this point. You got Beatty, got Jaleel. Obviously RJ's in there, and he's playing great. And I think instead of saying, hey, be our J.K. Dobbins, now what we're starting to see almost like that RPO quick, hey, a pass for 4 yards is just as good as a run, right? Okay. And I think now the defense is backing up a little bit. Now we can run, do our outside zones. We can do all these different runs. And I thought, in my opinion, just watching it as a defender, I thought RJ looked more comfortable yesterday. And he's going to continue to as the games go on and the experience happens. But that's what I mean. Now you're throwing the ball to open up the run game because you're seeing more zone, and then boom, you're able to hit a run, as opposed to before you're running it. Because if you can get your run game going, you're forcing more guys into the box, and then your pass game opens up, those windows open up. So I thought that's why we saw more check downs and we saw those types of things. But that's just my opinion. That's just kind of what I was looking at from a defender standpoint.
Thoughts on the receivers, bro? Cortland obviously made some big plays, has a touchdown yesterday. Pat Bryant is my favorite receiver on the team. I think he's got elite hands. catches the ball over the middle, seems fearless. Troy Franklin continues to make plays. LJ is back making plays in the run game and probably will get more ingrained into the offense some more. And then you have Marvin Mims. I think he had 1 or 2 catches, but thoughts on just the receiving core and what do you like about them and what do you think their next step is for scaring defenses even more?
I love this core. I think you always got to find what meshes well for what you're trying to accomplish. And I think Cortland is the epitome of this. He's not a me guy. He's not a I need 7 targets a game guy. He's when the ball comes my way, I will make the play, especially late games. And Bo knows that. Yeah. Bo's like, and I think that's what makes. I think that's why we're seeing the progression to a Bo. Bo's obviously a great player, but I think too, like knowing that you have a number 1 that doesn't need to be a number 1 all the time, just gives him a sense of calm. Like I can read these progressions. I don't have to force necessarily in certain windows. And we're starting to see Pat Bryant open up because of that, right? Evan Ingram's going to start opening up a little bit more. I think the checkdowns I think are coming easier because he doesn't feel like he needs to force it. And I will say the only thing as a fan that I would like to see because he's so explosive is more Marvin Mims. Yeah. I don't know if you're going to integrate that with the deep ball, more gadgets. You don't want to just make him a gadget guy. Like this guy comes in the game. Okay, here's screens. Here's a double pass. Here's, like all those things. But I do want to see a little bit more Mims because he is so explosive. And I think he can help that offense a lot with the big play potential.
Hey, DNVR fam, it is the holiday times. And during the holidays, one of the most important things is to get all the people you care about and yourself a little gift. And why not do it at Dick's? Why not stop at Dick's for your sporting goods and your hottest apparel on footwear from top brands like Nike, Adidas, Originals, FP Movement, and also DNVR. So at your local Dick's Sporting Goods, you can go get some DNVR gear, and that is the best place to shop for all sporting gears. I love shopping at Dick's Sporting Goods. I get a lot of my Nike gear from there. I am always trying to be in Nike. Nike's my favorite brand. So the Jordans I wear, the Air Force Ones I wear, Dunks, I am going to Dick's to get that gear. So whatever sport you play, whatever gear you need, whatever season it is, Dick's has got you covered. They've got great locations across the state. Get your gear first, fast, with curbside pickup at your nearest store or easy shipping from Dicks.com because every season starts at Dick's. Hey, DNVR fam, I know you have seen Bo Nix on those Int Credit Union commercials. You've heard us talk about Int Credit Union and their Broncos checking product and all of the awesome perks it comes with, like game day discounts at Empower Field, the chance to win Broncos tickets, and exclusive merch. Well, now they are piling on even more perks. For those who are interested in signing up, they're giving you $200. Yes, $200 will drop right into the account after meeting just a few easy requirements. And the debit card that comes with it, fine. You can rock the Broncos branded one, a Bo Nix one, or you got PS2 on the throwback card, which will now be available at service centers starting on December 1st. They're almost like collectibles. So with the playoff push heating up, now is the time to lock it down. The perks, the card, the $200. If you're ready to bank like a Bronco, head over to int.com/DNVR to learn more. Insured by NCUA. Membership required. Account requires associated Int Broncos debit card. Requires $100 deposit and activation of the debit card within 30 days of account opening. Broncos are looking at the number 1 seed right now. Could have a bye. If the Patriots win tonight, they'll be the 2 seed. So that means they would be playing Buffalo week 1 in Denver.
The rematch.
Thoughts on just overall, we go through some of these opponents, but thoughts initially, Denver rematch, Buffalo here. Obviously, Josh Allen scares all of Broncos country, playing him because he's such an elite talent. What do you see? I feel like this Broncos team last year could have gone to Buffalo and won.
Yeah, no doubt.
So how do they win these types of playoff games now coming up here against guys like Josh Allen, or maybe it is Mahomes, maybe it is Lamar Jackson. You got also CJ Stroud in here, maybe Aaron Rodgers, but what does it look like for this team now to win meaningful games in January?
Yeah. It's exciting. Like, obviously, as a former player, wanted to be in that type of environment. I know some of the guys in that locker room still, and I know like none of them are looking for first round of the playoffs right now. They're head down, still trying to grind out the season to get that number 1 spot, right? But I know they're excited. I think whoever comes to Denver is going to have a difficult time playing in the Mile High. I've only heard about how crazy it can get in playoff time. But I know it's going to be extremely difficult. And I think, let's say Buffalo does come. They've had turnover problems.
Yeah.
I think Josh, I was looking at the stat when they were playing Pittsburgh because that was a huge game to watch. I think he's been sacked 28 times this season, 8 times against Houston, who claims they're the best defense, but I think it's Denver. And I think you have that team coming into Mile High to come play. I think it gets difficult for them. I think because right now they're banking on running the football. Mm-hmm. Denver will take that away, and then they're the best at sacking the quarterback. I just don't see a formula there for success. However, Josh Allen is an elite quarterback.
Right.
So it would just be fun. And I think those matchups happen all across the board no matter who comes to Denver. So it'd be exciting. Playoff football is awesome. So it'd be really cool to see that.
Yeah, I think Josh coming to Denver would be, well, number one, Mile High. The fans during the playoffs, you can't hear anything. You can't hear anything.
I've heard.
Offensively, defensively, it's a wrap for all of that. It's definitely what we would call on offense a signal game. Hey, we're gonna go no huddle. At least with Peyton, when we would travel to Kansas City or when we would travel anywhere,
yeah,
because they know the noise is the only thing that could really affect him or what we do at the line of scrimmage. We would always do signals. So we would, if you're coming to play Denver here in the playoffs, it's got to be a signal game for you if you're going to be calling things, because he won't be able to hear things in the helmet. But Baltimore scares me a little bit. Buffalo does, and Kansas City, only because their quarterbacks are running quarterbacks and extend the play type of quarterbacks. Obviously, the defense is elite, but I think the playoffs are just different. I think people call games differently, and I think players play differently.
Yeah, no doubt.
And there is no substitute for experience, and that's why I'm glad that Denver got to the playoffs last year and got that, oh, we're here in the playoffs. They got that out of their system, because now I think you're ready.
Yeah.
Now I think you're ready. I think you hadn't been there in 10 years. It's one thing for Sean to be there. It's another thing for as a player. My first playoff game, just being on the sideline, I wasn't dressed, but it was the Indianapolis Colts. We were the number 1 seed. We had the bye. Indianapolis came in here and they beat us. And that was it was just a rude awakening for us, or at least for me and our rookie class, me, Bradley Roby, Capri Bibbs, all of us, because we blew them out 35-7 the first week of the season. And then they came in here and beat us 28-14. So the playoffs it's just a different animal. And then the following year, we win it all. We don't look good on offense at all, but our defense is so elite that you can win like that. So I think the Broncos have the right formula in terms of defense.
Yeah.
Defense wins championships at the end of the day. Kansas City's defense a couple years ago, Philly's defense the previous year, even the Patriots when they played the number 1 seed Rams, and they won that Super Bowl 13-3.
Yeah.
Tom Brady gets the credit for all the Super Bowls he won, but to win a playoff game against the number 1 offense in the NFL 13-3, Broncos got that type of defense, so it travels well. Anybody from the NFC catch your eye that the Broncos could potentially play in the playoffs? Or not playoffs, Super Bowl?
Bro, the NFC is scary, in my opinion. I don't know how many people are watching NFC football. The fact that the Bears are very similar to Denver. The makeup is not the same. I don't think their defense is nearly as good, but they're taking the ball away.
Yeah.
And then in the fourth quarter, regardless of how they play, Caleb Williams is finding a way to help his team win football games. Yep. And they're sitting at the top. Am I right? Yeah, right here, 9-2.
9-3.
9-3.
And then Rams
9-3. Rams are now 9-3. It's crazy. They just lost to the Panthers. But
it feels weird this year, bro.
It's insane. But I'm looking at the whole NFC, like Rams, Niners, Seahawks.
Bro, the Lions are in 8th.
I don't know. I would have never guessed that. The Packers. I mean, there's so many teams there that I think it's just going to be a brawl. I can't wait to watch that playoff run in the NFC, because I think it's going to be crazy. If I had to guess, I'm going to go with the Rams.
Same.
I think there's too much makeup, too much Super Bowl makeup on that team. And I think their defense is really like, that would have been my biggest question mark. Can the defense play well enough for them to win football games?
The Rams?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they are playing unbelievable defense. That it didn't show up against the Panthers, but they're playing unbelievable defense. And then obviously when you have Matt Stafford and the weapons that he has, and their running game is going really well, I think they carry that load. But it'd be interesting because I think they'd have to play the Seahawks for a third time, somewhere around like, and it's just, who knows? I don't know.
Playing a team 3 times, bro, is extremely hard. Playing a team twice is extremely hard. I think the Broncos could potentially have that with Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City's got to win out, but I could see the Broncos end up playing them a third time, which I think is going to be extremely difficult in the playoffs. Kansas City can win out. And I know people are like writing them off, and they continue to, they've gotten beat the last 2 weeks, but it's until they're mathematically eliminated.
You don't think they're out of it. It's just hard to, and that's the only reason I'm really picking the Rams. Like I think Seattle right now is playing unbelievable football.
You trust Darnold though?
I don't know. I trust their defense.
Is their defense that good?
Yeah, they're really good. They're really good. And I think, but like that's why I'm going with the Rams, because I do trust Stafford and I trust McVay. I'm not putting Kansas City. All that to say is I'm also agreeing with you. I'm not putting Kansas City out because there's too much makeup on that team.
Yep.
I just think they find a way. I hope they don't, but I just think they find a way.
Broncos got Las Vegas coming up. What are your favorite memories just as a player playing against the Raiders?
The first thing that comes to mind, it was, I'll say it was like my first. It wasn't my first interception, but it was my first real interception, like as a real starter. I think it was like game 1. No, game 2, game 3. I can't even remember, but it was VJ's first year.
Oh, so I was there.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh man, I'm gonna forget his name. The quarterback.
Not Derek Carr.
No, it wasn't Derek Carr. It was my guy that played for Florida State long time, Emmanuel.
Oh, EJ Manuel.
EJ Manuel, yeah. Yes, thank you. Anyway, he was throwing a deep ball to Amari Cooper. I went up, I caught the ball as a game ender. Just as a young player, like I said.
We were at home.
Yeah.
I got a game ball that game.
That too.
Special teams.
Come on,
there we go.
But I like that. That's the first thing that comes to mind. I'm sure there's plenty of others, but division game as a young player. I'm starting. There's a lot to prove, and it was just a big time play for me, and we ended up winning the game. I think it was 16-10.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But that's what I think of, So
what was it like just as a young player preparing for that, and then also you're in a room with Akeem, Chris, Roe, was Stu there?
Yeah, Stu was still there.
Like what's it like in preparation in a VJ-led defense? What's it like preparing for a game like that?
Bro, it's difficult. I think, first of all, from a mental psyche standpoint, like we had just let go of TJ, and I'm filling in that role. Like, obviously everyone here knows how great TJ was as a player.
Yeah.
3-time Pro Bowler. Like, okay, Rook, like all right, yeah, let's go. This is why we drafted you. And right, so like from a mental psyche standpoint, it's like, okay, I got to get in there and I got to like, not just play well.
Yeah.
And especially with this group that has proven to play well. And it wasn't like they were going to dumb things down for me, like, no, catch up.
Yeah.
And so like there's extra meetings with Lieb, extra meetings with Stu, extra meetings with Chris, Robe. Like these guys.
One-on-one?
Oh, no, I mean like like extra meetings, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like even if it would be afterwards, like I would pull Stu and just be like, hey bro, so listen, when we do like, and so I needed to catch up. Like when y'all are signaling this, like what does that mean? When Akeem gives me this signal, does that mean help over the top or jump the slant? Like what? Like I got to be able to catch up with what they're doing because they've proven to be elite, right? And so it was difficult, but it was so rewarding, man, because they always had my back, especially Akeem. They always had my back, and that's what you love as a young player, to see veterans have your back, because when you're out there, it is all about what you guys are doing. Mm-hmm. You know, everyone's heard the saying, like, if all 11 of us are wrong, we're all right. And that was the mentality that those guys had, and it was really cool, man.
I feel like that's what this team has. And they've talked about how extremely close this team is. And I think that's one of the reasons why this team is having so much success defensively. And then overall, winning games is that they have Bo's back regardless of how he's playing. The defense, you can see how they're communicating, how they're playing well. And I've been able and I've been blessed to win 2 state championships, 2 Big Ten championships, and a Super Bowl. And all of the things that you just said are true. Every championship team I've ever been on is player-led, player accountability. Hey, we're all on the same page. Like you said, if we're all wrong, then we're right. And I think the Broncos have this makeup of a championship team, and I expect them to carry that over to Vegas this weekend. And I expect them to not play with their food and to punish them this weekend.
No, I think that's going to be the case, and I think we've seen it before. Last year, and I don't remember exactly how the season was going, but obviously Denver had more losses last year, kind of at this point in the year, and they had to go play in Vegas. And after the game, you saw Sean like run on the field and almost celebrate with some of the guys, and like there are certain games he goes into and he's telling them like, I'm just telling you, I know what some of you are thinking. I know what the media is saying about this game. It's going to be an easy win. We can just stroll in here. I'm telling you guys right now, that is not our mentality going into this game. And they ended up winning the game, whereas like I think he said it, like the team I was here with the year prior probably loses this game. So this was an important game for us to come in and win. And I think that's going to be the same makeup. Everyone's riding high. The Broncos are going to be #1 seed, and he's in there and he's telling them like, hey, look, we're going to celebrate our wins. But let's not forget, this was 10-7 a couple weeks ago at our home stadium. We have a point to prove.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the mentality of the team.
Love to see it. Justin, man, this is a pleasure, bro. Thank you for coming on Broncos X's and O's, bro. You're a natural. You do everything well.
You know, when you have a co-host that just makes everything so natural, it's just easy. I forgot there was cameras. I forgot there was a mic half the time. So I appreciate you, bro. This was fun.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you, bro.
All love.
Yes, sir.
We all silly like the mayor.